Is it Bilal in Irvine?
Bilal.
Bilal, how you doing?
You can call me Bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
You're completely Americanized.
Really? Okay. How are you, Matt?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I just have been following your show for quite some time, only recently, and I came across. I tried to call you last week on Sunday, but I believe I was a bit late. And today, I thought I'm on time, so I just called to ask a few questions, which I have had in mind for quite some time now.
Go ahead.
Well, as you may be informed by now, is that I come from a Muslim background, and there's one question that I really have had in my mind ever since I was a child, and I've been asking this question to lots of people, the preachers, my parents, my associates, and everybody else around me. And the question is, why is it that the sole reason I'm born in a Muslim family?
Can you repeat that?
The one reason that I'm born in a Muslim family, and I've been raised as a Muslim, I've been brought up as one, I've been taught those teachings and not taught the teachings of Christianity or other religions that surround me. Why does that make me correct, and why is it that the Christian who has been brought up in his Christian house, he's been told that he's correct and everybody else is going to hell, and in my case, I'm going to hell? I mean, isn't the same thing, isn't the same way that I feel about Islam is how the Christian feels about Christianity? I mean, who's right then? Who is right?
Well, you can't all be right, but you could all be wrong.
Correct.
That's why, we rationalist, skeptical types go back down to, the core question. Can any of you prove that any of the supernatural entities that you believe in actually exist?
Well, that's a good question.
And as soon as you can't, then we say, okay, so we set that aside. Those people, that group can't prove that their God exists. This other group can't prove their God exists, and we're atheists because we haven't found the group that can prove that its God exists yet.
That's correct. I mean, I've been thinking about that question, is there anything that is going to put on my faith and say this is correct because, I've got the evidence or anything for that matter that points remotely to the idea that I'm correct. And I was looking for that. And I went through all the people who've been healed, or so they say. And I just saw that these things were common between Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and everybody else.
Yeah.
There's nothing special in any particular religion. Now, the funny part, though, is that if I choose to leave Islam, if I choose to be an apostate, I face death threats.
Yeah. We wouldn't call that funny. I'm glad that you're able to call that funny, a funny thing.
I mean, the thing is that why do they have to take matters into their own hands? Why can't God himself be good enough to deal with me? I mean, why do they have to...
Their God is so weak and feeble that he has to send them out to kill you.
Exactly. I mean, what the hell do I do then? I mean, I have to also say that, this may sound really stupid, but I have been, ever since a child, I was told about hell and heaven. And whenever the thought of leaving the religion comes to my mind, I immediately face this fear, this frightening fear of hell, which has been programmed into me as a child, and I just can't get rid of it.
And a lot of people can't, and it's one of the things you can ask yourself is, if there was a God, would he have to resort to that kind of fear tactic in order to, convince you? I'd recommend Ayaan Hirsi Ali's book, Infidel.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding, especially if you're talking about, her transition from Islam to atheist.
Oh.
But yeah, this threat of hell, I mean, it exists all over the place, and it makes no sense to me why, if there was some kind of loving God, that they would resort to that.
I can tell you my personal experience in my deconversion moment.
Mm-hmm.
I had the benefit of having been raised to believe in a loving God and a just God who cared about me and was not a jerk.
That's true.
So, when I started having questions, it occurred to me, well, the God that I was raised to believe in is not going to punish me for using the brain and intellect that he gave me. And that thought allowed me to put all the fear of hell and punishments and all that aside and just look at the facts rationally.
And any God who would punish somebody?
Any God who would punish me, that's right, as Matt said, any God that would punish me for that, that's a whole other question. That's a God I'd have to be on the other side of. But,
Exactly.
Within 5 minutes after having freed myself of those fears, I realized I'm an atheist. I can't believe this stuff anymore.
And today you sit there and you have absolutely no fear.
No.
Anything whatsoever supernatural.
No. I still have fear of the followers, but not of any supernatural things now.
That is quite impressive, really.
Yeah, and people will talk about the praying, etc. And there were people who were praying for God to, take me out. And if I thought for a second that their God could give me so much as a hangnail, I might be a little worried, but I don't. I'm no more afraid of the God of Christianity or the God of Islam as I am of, the boogeyman or anything else.
It's a very funny thing you say that you're actually fearful of the followers, because I just realized that's exactly my case now.
Yeah.
I'm more afraid of the death threats and the fact that I'm going to have a sword.
And in your case, it's not an irrational fear. I mean, there's a reason why Ayan Hirsi Lee runs around with bodyguards all over the place and has to cancel some speaking events, because she gets death threats and they're real. Now, whether or not your family or would actually follow through on it, I don't know, because I don't know your family.
No, my family wouldn't be such a problem, but the people, the Muslim community here, they wouldn't be very pleased.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a big scare. I mean, you see, this is one thing I actually really want to emphasize on, but I really can't do it, because if you talk about this in public, they say, you're an infidel, they label you one, and then you get all the hatred. They don't listen to you, do they? And all they say is, you were never a true Muslim.
By the way, I forgot to do this the other day, and this is not meant in any way to necessarily insult you, but I missed out on Everybody Draw Muhammad Day.
No, you didn't. It's the 20th.
It's the 20th?
Yeah, it's still coming
Why
up.
were the schools doing it early?
I don't know. There's probably
Well,
multiple.
I'm doing it anyway, so I drew my
Hey,
stick finger.
every day is Everybody
There we
Draw
go.
Muhammad Day.
So there I am. For all those people who said I was afraid to be an infidel against religions other than Christian, I'm an infidel with respect to all of them. And, a stick figure. And there were people who were upset about it, and they run around changing it.
As somebody who plays tabletop fantasy role-playing games, I'm not only going to draw Muhammad, I'm going to write up his stats.
Cool.
So you can beat him up in a game. If you
That
want.
has to go on the blog.
Or team up with him. You could make him a good guy, I guess.
That has to go up on the blog. Anyway, Bill, thanks a lot for calling. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man. Nice talking to you.
Cheers.